Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well wherever you are watching from. As always, I'm your host and presenter Dash Lifestyle, and I truly hope you are doing fine. Now in today's video I want to talk about something that's not only important but urgent. I'm also going to share something from the heart, something personal and real. But first, let me just say this. Something has been bothering me deeply even after everything we have learned. That we are all one people, all descendants of the same origin. I keep seeing division among us, especially across the internet. I see people identifying as foundational Black Americans, ADOS, and other distinction, and while identity matters, I can't help but wonder, are we not playing directly into the hands of the oppressor? It's like a script was written a long time ago, a playbook designed to divide Black people, and sadly we are following it. We are caught up in argument like, are you FBA or are you even ADOS? And all the while, the real issue, the common enemy, keeps going unchecked. The system that created these categories is the same system we should be dismantling together. And now let me speak directly from me to you, from Africa motherland, the motherland. I want to say this clearly to my brothers and sisters in the United States and across the diaspora. We are not proud of what happened to you. We are not proud of how you were taken, enslaved, broken, and brutalized. We carry that pain too, even if history made us forget, and now in this time we must remember who we are to each other. We must stop letting the world define us enemy when we are really a strange family. It's time to heal. It's time to unite. So guys, I want you to watch this video from African lady. She is exposing how white they are dividing Black people. So kindly guys, watch this till the end, then I'll be back with more comments.
Start by just explaining two diseases from which we all suffer, Naming and savala. One is called cognitive dissonance. It is a mental, psychology, it's a mental state of frustration that happens when an individual holds two conflicting beliefs. Now, a lot of Africans, because we have been Arabized and Europeanized, cognitive dissonance is normal. And it shows itself in many ways, self-hate, etc., etc. But I just want to highlight one thing quickly, that each time I say a witch doctor, I suffer cognitive dissonance. Because ngempela ngesintu akuna ngakamlui. Akekho umthakathi mlaki. You are either a witch or you are a doctor. But they gave us this name so that they rubbish everything that have to do with African spirituality. So that when you look at it, you just say it's witchcraft kibulo. Another disease I coined in my PhD thesis, and I used joy degree a lot. Please study that individual who's saying as psychologist. And he deals with what is called transgenerational trauma that Africans have suffered. Ujoy, D and then space GRUY. Don't say because you were not there at the point of colonization, you don't carry the pain in your DNA today. You carry that pain as those people suffered it because it is transgenerational. As long as we cut, because we have not healed, because we are still under trauma today. Now I've coined it post-traumatic slavery and colonial disorder. I tell African Americans who follow me on Twitter, please don't for a second think that because we were left in the continent we didn't suffer slavery. Sisi suffer more. Because those who've watched Roots, imagine Kunda's parents, they died without knowing who buried their child, what happened to the child. The Kundas were many of the time being dislodged from the coastal cities because of the slave raiders. The person who said our ancestors collaborated, if they did, why did they have a profession called slave raiders who literally came into the continent to abduct slaves? So what Africans were forced to do was uksuka from the coastal cities to run away from the slave raiders. So we were forced to get on top of each other. And the further in we moved, the further the slave traders were coming. Imagine being banned in a village. There's confusion. We are banned to death. Now, we are 10 years old. My people are dead. Now it means it's a new identity. Funding Hambe to the next village. At the time of another attack. So we have suffered African Americans the same way they suffered slavery. But it's in a more so, as we came out of slavery before healing, we went into colonization, which we are still in it. We have never had a respite. African people have been in pain since 642 AD with the first Arabs who landed on our continent. So, the aim when I prepared was not to elaborate on the diseases. I was just supposed to highlight them and then move on to what I've called in my talk undertones of the message. So as I continue talking, please look for these things that I've called undertones. The first one, surprise, surprise, is by a German called Goebbels. You need to know that man, because he's the father of propaganda as they're using it against us. Goebbels says propaganda works well when the target of manipulation is under the false guise that they are acting out of their own free will. Yeah. Is that not the story of Africa? Yes. How did we come to post-colonial terminology when we never used decolonial? Since we decolonial, post-colonial. How do each generation, how are they called the born free, who are landless, jobless, no identity? How free are they? How did we agree to that terminology? Now, Goebbels says it works better if the objects of manipulation believe that they are acting out of their own free will. Yes. The second undertone I want you to think of as I talk is by Ubaba Nkrumah himself, and it is from his handbook on the revolutionary warfare. He says to justify its policies, because they know it's rotten policies, to justify its policies, imperialism has had to resort to all sorts of propaganda types against the oppressed, highlighting and exploiting. I'm adding their so-called differences, because for me they are not really differences. Based on religion, I don't know why we are fighting about religion in the first place. Mama Africa are spiritual people. It's a talk for another day. The difference between spirituality and religion is like north and east, they will never meet. But okay, they use that. That's why in Nigeria there are 3 wars going on now, and one of them is based on religion, and it's Boko Haram. So they do that against us based on religion, based on color. Who's lighter, who's darker. I've never understood the black skin is the most beautiful skin. Sometimes I am not proud that my father was colored, because I so want that navy. You know, the skin is navy blue. That's the most beautiful skin you can ever have. But they exacerbate those differences where the lighter skinned ones think that they are better than the darker skinned ones. And another undertone, this one is very important, is by a Polish woman called, her surname is Tylus, if I'm pronouncing it right, T-Y-L-U-S.
That's right, ma'am.
Yeah. Uthi, and talks about culture. Uthi, the role of culture in development has been misunderstood thus far, because it has only been relegated to social development. She says, on the contrary, culture is the apex of economic development. All nations that have risen and become great nations have done that because they have a singular unifying culture. The culture is clear, E1, they're united. Look for that undertone as I talk. The last one is to define 4 things quickly. The first one is time frame. I argued in my thesis that Africans shouldn't count time as Abelungu count time, you see. They have BC, which is before Christ. And then some of us call it BCE, before the Common Era. And then they say AD, Anno Domini, after Christ. We say CE, Common Era. But for me, even then, we shouldn't count time like that. Because Tina, we never had the Dark Ages. They are our Dark Ages. Yeah. We only want to link quickly a time frame to development. See, there are only 3 races on earth. The rest are nations. Let's not confuse ourselves. You have the Mongoloid race, that's the yellow people. You have the Caucasian race, that's white people. You have the Negroid race, that's African. Now, who was the first to civilize? It's very easy. There's a civilization called Kush. They don't deny it. 8,000 years BCE. 8,000 years. Those who calculate can calculate how long ago this is from today. Remember, BC was a countdown. AD is counting up. So we are now in 2018 AD from 180. They are 8,000 BC Kush, the first Kush, because it came again as the second Kush. And then you have Kemet, which is 3,100 more or less. Now, Tina nabo Diop, nabo Obenga, nabo John Henry Clark, we argue that Kemet didn't just descend. It's not possible for any civilization to just start and excel as they did. Yeah. It was birthed by somebody, and it is Kush that birthed them. Yes. But they will not agree that Kush birthed them, because if they agree to that, they are then saying that we were the first to civilize. Yes. Because Kush, without doubt, is where South Sudan is today. You can't mistake it. And then let's look at their civilization. The first time they come on the map, that's why Abu Farah Khan and Abu Khalid Mohammed called them Johnny Come Lately. Yes. The first time they arrive on the map of the earth is the Greek Empire, 800 BCE. Can you subtract 8,000 from 800? So who civilized white people? Us. White people walked on 4s like dogs and animals. They didn't even know a person must stand and walk. They didn't know. That is why up today they've got schools, rubbish really for an African, called a finishing school, to be taught how to sit, how to walk. That's why umlungu makahamba ubona ukuthi bahamba so. Uyabona ukuthi no azange afundiswe. Yeah, because they civilized yesterday. Yes. They are not natural people on the earth. Yes. They are born by climatic default. It's a fact. Yes. The second most populous continent, despite Ma'afa, despite colonization, despite the invention of HIV. By the way, I have a 15 slides on how HIV was invented. It was invented for you. The names are there. If you are interested, get it. So snap out of your cognitive dissonance and know that they are here to kill you. They are not your friends. Now, despite that, we are the second most populous continent, over 1 billion people. Despite the onslaught on our languages, we boast over 1,500 languages. I say over, they say 1,500. I say over, you know why? Because I'm sure they didn't count Isimbondo, they counted it as Xhosa. They didn't count Isibata, but it's Xhosa. Now how many of those are out there throughout the continent? Another thing we look like today is that we sit as Francophone, former French, Commonwealth, British, Lusophone, Portuguese, Italian, and Spanish colonization. By the way, it's not just terms, that's how our economies are divided. Nothing happens in Francophone unless Paris sneezes. Nothing happens here, don't fool yourselves. Yeah. If London says no. Yeah. He can't do jack, excuse my language, shit, unless London says yes. Yes. Now, let's go to how did we come where we are today? Oh, quickly. What is an African? I love Mazrui. Mazrui uti, there's an African by soil and blood. That's us. Uti, there's an African by soil, you just happen to be born here. Now, we really need to start calling out Africans by soil, but they are not Africans. Life is in the blood. If you're not an African by blood, then you're not an African. Finish it. Now, how did we come here? Because we went through 2 processes called Arabization and Europeanization. Guys, has it crossed your mind that Islam, Christianity, in fact, the Bible religions, because Judaism, For you to embrace them, you have to stop being who you are. Are you aware? You have to be an African to be a Christian or to be a... That's why they rename you. If in the language you must speak Arabic, Arabic. Yes. That's why abazalwane go Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nisi, because akaskulumi isiZulu. Ukhuluma iHebrew. Yeah, absolutely. Now, another thing that we went through to put us where we are is the Berlin Conference. At the Berlin Conference, I was shocked when I was trying to prepare for the meeting. I was never aware that at Berlin Conference, America was invited. You know they were. They sat in. Do you know who else was invited? The Ottoman Empire. Guys, I said there are two races at the Western nations. Doesn't it strike you that these two races have already ran a slave trade on us, colonized us at different angles of the time? And that even in the Security Council today, they are there. They had to call China to sit there. I know we love them, but hey, they remain Mongoloid. They are not African. Now, the Ottoman Empire was called because that was the highlight of the Arabs at the time, to sit in at the Berlin Conference. They had a 5-meter map of Africa. No names, except 5 meters width and length. No names. What does that tell you? They had no intention of knowing this continent because the kingdoms were already there. My brother counted them, I don't need to. That map was there because they were clear that they are going to reinvent and remodel you, which is what they've done. Now, what else happened for us to land here? When we started gaining the so-called independence, our leaders said we don't want to open the Pandora box. Asifuna ukuyele emuva, do away with the borders and whatever. My humble question is, why is it that history got reversed in Eastern Europe so quickly? So quickly. So quickly, but in Africa, no, you can't reverse history. And where they do reverse it like they've done in North Sudan and South Sudan, they get, are you aware South Sudan is smaller than North Sudan? Yes. How does the settler get more land than the Aboriginal, than the indigenous people? Because they didn't use the land of our forefathers, they used the colonization map in the first place to do that. Oti Unkruma in the handbook, what else has happened to us to be where we are? We have agreed, we have put ourselves at a corner where we say Western parliamentary democracy and the political party system are the only way that we can be governed. Kanjani? Wow. Kanjani? How? Yeah. Secondly, we have allowed ourselves to be client states, and we call that post-colonialism. That's us now. We are not talking about the past, Hitler. We have allowed ourselves to get military support. Are you aware, as you and me sit here, how much foreign military is deploying in Africa, people? AFRICOM, USA alone is taking over Francophone countries. I don't know what is your vuganini. Silwe nini, ngoba ma-Africa afuna uxoxa wafuna ukulwa. Asifuni ibhamu. We want to negotiate. They are not negotiating. The militaries are here. I thank Southern African countries because currently they are still saying no. Not in the West and in the East. These people are beginning to own. AFRICOM, Neo-Cheka AFRICOM, Yasa US, Yotonga Abala, France and the others. Another thing we have allowed to do is to live by aid or handouts.
So guys, I hope you have watched that video and you have seen how our African lady, she has come out and exposed some of the things that these people they have been doing to us black people, how these people they have been brainwashing us black people, how these people they have been dividing us black people, how they came during slavery, they took our brothers and sisters into slavery. And also guys, I want to add some of the things that also white people they have been doing to us black people and how they manage to divide us. That's why you can see we have our black brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, we have our black brothers and sisters in the United States. So I'm going to start with number one, the transatlantic slave trade, the origin of slavering. So Africans were forcibly taken from the continent, stripped of their language, culture, religions, name and identity. So you can see when Africans were taken during slavery, they were stripped of their language, culture, religions, names, and identity. But I'm so happy to see even right now we are having some of our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. They have not yet forgotten their language, like people from Jamaica. I've seen like Jamaica Patois language. They have used some of the African language. This is to tell you that not all of our brothers and sisters who they are in the out of Africa, they are forgetting their language and where they came from. So, but this is one of the things that these people they did to us black people. They stripped them of their language so that these people cannot trace where they came from, and also the culture, their culture they were taken off, and also religion. Names, you can see some of our black people in the diaspora, they have the white names but not their real African names. And also identity, these people they were taking their identity. This is to tell you that these people they really wanted these black people not to trace where they came from, their identity. You know, you cannot just know yourself without knowing your roots. So if you need to know exactly where you came from, you need to understand your background, where you need to follow your roots. And this is one of the things that these people they manage to make the black people in the diaspora to forget their roots. So enslaved Africans in America were internationally disconnected from any memory or knowledge of their origin. Their history was erased, and they were taught to be ashamed of Africa, painted as primitive, savage, or uncivilized. Yeah, guys. So you can see this is what happened to our brothers and sisters in the in America. Enslaved African in the America were internationally disconnected from any memory. You can see their memory. These people they were wiping out their memory or knowledge of their origin. So this is what I've told you, that these people they erased their memory and knowledge of origin. And also these people they were made to be ashamed of Africa. This is one of the things that I've been telling you, that the Western people they usually paint Africa as a bad country, as a poor country, as a country where people they are struggling, as a country where people they are dying with hunger. This is just to make our black people who are in the Western countries not to love Africa, not to see Africa as a good country. So they did this so that our black people in their country to hate Africa. But meanwhile, we can see Africa it is good. We have seen how Africa it is developing, and right now people can see how Africa it is beautiful. And also, guys, let me continue. Meanwhile, colonization in Africa created its own trauma. European told Africans that African Americans were lost, corrupted by Western culture, or even looked down on them as slaves. So let me just go to our point number 2, colonial and post-slavery propaganda. After slavery and during colonialism, the West pushed international narrative. In Africa, African Americans were portrayed as arrogant, violent, or culturally alien. So you can see in African American were portrayed as arrogant. So I've told you what happened in our brothers when they were in their country, the Western countries. They were shown bad image of Africa, but right now we can see in Africa. So this now to us African people, African American were portrayed as arrogant. So these people they came out here in Africa and telling us that our brothers and sister who they are in America or Western countries, they are these people that are arrogant, violent, or culturally alien. So you can see they're telling us that these people who were taken during slavery, they have gone there, and these people they are arrogant and they are violent. So you can see how these people that are dividing us. This is a tool of how they are usually divide us. So here in Africa, they want us to see like our brothers and sisters who they are in the Western country, they are arrogant and are violent. And also when they are going there back to their country, they are they are showing bad image of how Africa it is. So this is now a division. This is a tool that these people they have been using for a very long time. And for me, I'm so happy to see how our African professors, our African history educators, they are coming out and telling us exactly how these people they have been brainwashing us, black people. Education, religion, and media on both sides fed this divide. Yeah. So this also it was being encouraged by educational, religion, and media on both sides fed this divided. So you can see the things that we were pushing for this divide. It is also education, religion, and media. On both they played that role. So let's go to point number 3, economic and political distractions. African Americans were forced to focus on survival under Jim Crow, segregation, and system racism. Africans were struggling with colonial rule and then the chaos of post-independence politics and neo-colonial control. Neither group had the time or power to connect for understand each other. So let's go to point number 5, cultural difference and misunderstanding. African American created their own culture, from gospel to hip hop, soul food to civil rights movement, born from struggle. Yeah, so you can see African American, they tried to create their own culture, because you can remember these people, they were forced to forget their culture, where they came from. Their memory was ripped off. So let's go. African also held onto diverse traditional culture, languages, custom, family structure, many of which were lost in the America. So when African and African American met, sometimes it feel like a clash rather than a reunion. Yeah, so when African and African American met, sometimes it feel like a clash rather than union. So it is supposed to be a reunion but not a clash. That's why I've been telling you that it is now the right time for us black people to unite, because the people who divided us, they are these white people, the colonialism, the colonial master. They are the ones who brought all this divide. So anytime when we meet with African American and African people, instead of being reunion, it is just a clash. We both hate each other, and that's why I've been telling you this. There were so many fights which was going on between African people, the black people in the Caribbean, and also African American. So it is now the right time for us to come together and unite. So let me just go to the last point number 5, modern day internet conflict. Online platform amplify conflict and misunderstanding more than unity. African and African Americans sometimes mock or stereotype each other out of ignorance or frustration. Labels like FBA, ADOS, or Akata are used in harmful ways that reflect centuries of pain, not truth. So you can see how I hope guys you have learned and you have seen how these people, they have been dividing us, black people. But I'm so happy to see majority of black people, we are now coming together, we are now uniting. So kindly guys, if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe, like this video, share, and also comment. And also you can add on the comment section, you can tell me what do you think about how African we don't love each other. But right now I can see we are starting to learn our history, and also we are coming together. So kindly guys, subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share, and also comment. See you in my next one. Bye bye.